Hello,
Hey, Norma.
how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Horrible.
Made my day.
Are you glad to hear that?
What happened?
I don't know.
You disappeared, Lou.
Oh, yeah?
I'm still there.
You're back. Back.
I don't know. I still feel my material self.
Okay. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good.
All right.
So what are we doing today, Lou?
Well, we're going to finish the song Cool and hopefully move on to the quintet. So, let's jump into this. Hey, how are you? Let's jump into this fugue, the ending. So, everybody ready?
Oh. You're going? Yeah. The two of you are going?
Okay. Now, did you have any luck kind of looking deeper into this and seeing some of what's going on? So, as just a quick, basically remember, after the exposition, what follows is a development. And in this case, because the exposition is so unusually long, because the length of the theme is so unusually long, it takes up a lot, maybe half of the fugue itself. So that's not typical, but utterly appropriate given the subject itself. And then the development, you usually think of developments as broken up into episodes. He'll explore the thematic material one way, then another way, and so on. And so what I started to show you last week before we left is if you look at measure 94, and you see those chords in the right hand, what they're doing is outlining the theme. So it's a whole other approach to the theme. What you're conscious of when you're listening to this section is what's going on low and high, which is the counter subject being stated in canon. You see that? Okay. That's what you're really focused on. But the glue holding the whole thing together is those short, starting in the right hand, the chords. You get, right? Where am I? Can't see it. A flat. So right? That's the theme. Starting at measure 97, you get phrase 2, starting on the F sharp. It's just rhythmically different, right? And then the end of 99, you get phrase 3, which starts on the G. You follow? Okay, now let's take note of something. Here, the theme starts on A. Again, we don't think of it as being in A, but its starting place is A. And if you recall, what we learned about this was that all the entrances of the theme leading up to this formed that diminished seventh chord, that completely unresolved diminished seventh. And so this theme is actually picking up where the last entrance of the subject happened in measure 82, starting on the note A. You follow? So while you're getting da ba do ba dee ba da ba dee ba do ba do ba do ba da 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 da, you're getting da ba do oh ya ba do ba dee ba do ba do ba do ba. You know, that's where the kind of infrastructure of the episode is. Let's listen. One second. So let's follow the fugal exposition up through this point. This is the symphonic dances. Here we go. Second entrance. Third entrance. Fourth entrance. Okay. There, right? We've just come out of it. Now, we're hitting this section at measure 94. So first thing to do when you listen to this is follow the lower voices. Okay? You ready? Follow the left hand, the bass clef. All right. Some of that, the detail is hard to pick out. Remember, the tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let's go back and we are, right? Now follow the theme. At 94, it's those hard hits, right? And you hear them reinforced with the rim shots on the drum. Now, could you follow that? Kind of. Let's do it again. Remember, you're hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. Let's go again. Here we go. Now, 1, 3.
It's okay. Okay. No, I know. It's okay. I totally forgot I have class.
Okay, one more time. Here we go. Are you following that? Okay, that's the theme. In more ways, we hear it as percussive accents than we hear it thematically. But that's the theme. So that's the deep structural linchpin of that section. Now, listen to that section one more time and try to stay with the high voices playing the following voice of the canon to the counter subject. You with me? Okay, so hang on. It's fast, right? And it's rhythmically wild. Pati pati pata pata patu pa patu pa patu patakata ta ta ta. Assuming patakata ta 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 patata ta takata ta da potata. You know, it's hard, but you see that's what's going on. You've got a counter subject in canon starting on two different notes. It hits the downbeat at 94 in the left hand on D flat, and it hits its downbeat in the right hand on F sharp. You follow? So we can't call it bitonality because there's no tonality at all. But that's what he's doing. Now let's look at the next phrase, starting at 104. This is a more disguised version of the theme. When you hear right? That's those first three measures, 104, 105, 106. That's the theme. What he's done is the technique for, first of all, repetition, right? Instead of moving right on. And actually, remember the theme. In this case, think of G sharp as the first note of the theme. So then it's G sharp, A. It should be G natural, F sharp. Are you guys with me? Okay, so he starts on the A and then goes to the G sharp, right? But we know that the essential motive of this whole fugue is the minor second. So even though this doesn't sound like a statement of a theme, it sure sounds like it's of this piece. And then when we strip it away, we see, oh, in 106, 107, excuse me, 106, he is going up the octave. So there it is. There's your phrase 1. Now, phrase 2 starts at 109 and follows the same procedure. It would be E, F, D flat, C, but he starts on the F and he goes. You follow?
Yeah.
So that's phrase 2 of the theme. And then phrase 3 is literal. It's the B, E, E flat, D. You follow, guys? All right. Now, Bernstein understands an essential quality of composition, especially when you're walking that line of very sophisticated composition in the popular realm. What you have at 94, starting at 94, that first of the 2 episodes, so we could call that episode 1. What you have is you're moving toward the height of chaos of this piece. Now, it's not chaos at all, because we see it's actually quite thoroughly organized. But you have the counter subject being featured now, not the subject. The subject is almost acting like percussive responses. And the counter subject is in canon. So again, when we listen to that section, even looking at the music, you got to work to follow it. There is so much. Okay, now I want you to listen again. Don't look at the music. And what you realize is it's actually a very transparent texture. There are just 3 lines going on. That's it. And you'll hear it. You'll feel it. There's the low voice, there's the upper voice, and there are those middle hits. So it's, despite how it blurs meter, because those middle hits are making you wonder where's 1, right? Those theme hits, you don't know where 1 is anymore. But it's just 3 layers. Another thing that makes you unclear about the time is that the following voice in 94 comes in on off of 3 and on 4. So where you're expecting a downbeat, ba-da, da-ba-dee-ba, it's ba-da, but that's the 4th beat. So you don't know where 1 is. The combination of that feeling like it's 1, but it's starting on 4, and all those hits creating this just absolutely jagged rhythmic reality. So one more time, listen to it. Don't look at the music and just hear the texture. You follow? It's really effective. It's not about you hearing every note in pristine clarity. It's about these moving lines against these attacks. And then he knows that you are as disoriented as a listener right now as you've been at any time in this entire score. You don't know where one is. You have no sense of tonality. You're not even sure what the main theme is because that running stuff seems like it's the main theme, but it's not really. So what does he do? This is, I mean, it's a trick he does. It's like one of the tools in his tool bag. He didn't invent it, but he knows how to use it. Bring everybody together in unison. So all of this multiplicity of voices suddenly becomes like laser focused. That's the theme. You follow?
Yeah.
And the other beauty about that is that since he's not actually playing the theme with these long sustained notes, and since he starts on the second note of the theme instead of the first note of the theme, I know when I used to listen to this, I didn't even realize that was the theme. It just sounds like he's playing with this material. He's actually not. He's restating it, but what's given it completely new life is this sense of rhythm, repetition, and after the multiplicity of sound that can make you dizzy, suddenly pulling everything together in a unison. I mean, it's one of the most powerful techniques in a composer's tool bag. Okay? Any thoughts or questions?
It's also very powerful because the way it coordinates with the dancing, because the dancing also does that same thing where suddenly they form this unison.
Right, but if you remember, when Bernstein's at his hottest, which is ba-da, ba, ba-da, ba, ba-da, ba, ba-da, they're still.
Right.
They're not moving. You know, which is brilliant because otherwise, if the choreography is always what Bernstein would have called Mickey Mousing the music, you know, like in a cartoon, how the music follows exactly the action of the cartoon. It just wouldn't always be as interesting. You're listening to that music and you're looking at those guys holding and you're wondering when's it going to explode again. So now let's look at 119. All of a sudden he keeps the unison going, but what does he do? We're back into ba-dee-da, ba-da-da, ba-dee, ba-da-da-da, right? And also, here's a trick that he's using as well. He starts it out in two voices, but it quickly becomes three lines. After the first phrase, the lines raise up an octave. You follow? Here, listen. We're going to be right there. Okay. Sorry, I forgot that he extends that phrase 3, ba-da, at 114, ba-da, and then he rhythmically messes with it, ba-da, 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 bo-dee-da, right? Plays with that. Now, we're at 125. We're back to the song. If you notice, ba-da, ba-da, where is the tune voiced at 125? It's stemmed up in the left hand here. Right?
Yeah.
That's the tune. What seems to be the key center now?
G?
G, that's right. Because it started out centered in where?
C.
Exactly. Now, what's happening in the upper voice? Trumpets shaking. Well, ultimately, it's just a counterpart that's adding pop. Right there. So what did he add in? 2 measures insert. And what's the material?
The counter subject of the fugue.
That's right. Ba-do, ba-dee, ba-da, ba-da, ba-do, ba, ba-do, ba. It's the first phrase of the counter subject. You see that, guys? At 128, 129.
Mhm.
Okay, then we're back to the second phrase of the tune, 130. Right there, he keeps the 4-bar phrase and just uses that counter melody idea as kind of what we call a fill, right? He didn't insert and add measures. You guys understand? No? Okay. If you were going to sing that tune, ba-da-ba, breeze it, buzz it, easy does it, turn off the juice, boy. That's that phrase. It's 4 measures long. Well, so he varies the tune a bit, but the ba-do, ba-dee, ba-da-ba just comes in as a fill, a variant, but he didn't add any measures. He kept that as a 4-measure tune, where for the first phrase at 125, he substituted the counter subject for the 4th measure and added a 5th measure. You see that? Right? So a 4-measure phrase became a 5-measure phrase. Here, a 4-measure phrase stays a 4-measure phrase, just with that variant. Let's go back to 125. We're about a measure away. Extra measure. And that's a great transition, right? So we get the bridge starting at 134. Ba-da-ba, ba-dee-da-da, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-dee. You know, he's just melodically varying it. You with me, guys? At 134? Talk to me, yes or no,
Yes.
right? So instead of da-da-da, da-da-da, ba-ba-ba-da-dee, it becomes ba-da-da. Sorry, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-bee-ba-ba-ba. Now, originally, it's a 4-measure phrase, so he keeps it a 4-measure phrase, but not only is the melody varied, he inserts the counter subject 1 phrase, ba-da-ba-da-da-da-ba. And guys, do you notice it's not the same insertion as at 28? He takes it from a little later in the counter subject, takes a fragment from a little later. And then 138, we get the second phrase of the bridge. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-da, da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-ba. And now the first measure of the counter melody idea here would be the fourth measure of the bridge. But instead we get this fragment of ba-do, ba-dee, ba-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da, ba-da, ba-dee, ba-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-zoom. We're in. And it's great because once again, we're not completely sure of his time here. So when we land on boy, it's a wonderful, unpredictable landing. Listen. Okay, so here's the bridge, 149. No, wrong measure, 134. It's not just the insertion of the counter subject that's so striking there. To me, now we're back to the song. The most striking thing is from pianissimo to fortissimo, right? It's so jarring to hear that insert. Also notice, what key are we in now?
C.
Right, so we're back to tonic. That's part of what helps it feel fresh. We'd already returned to the song instrumentally, but we returned to it in the dominant. So he uses that to get you. And all this chromatic stuff makes it really easy to slip back into C. And here we are at 145. Stay loose, boy. Make sense? All right, let's hear this whole thing. We're going to listen to the symphonic version. So you're going to hear a shortened version of the song itself, if my memory is correct, and then the fugue and out. And it's all instrumental. Now, here's the other thing. We just listened to Dudamel, I believe is how he pronounces his name, conduct it. And he's a great conductor for this kind of music. Tremendous sense of vibrance and energy and rhythmic precision and syncopation. So now let's listen to Bernstein conduct an orchestra playing this. bass clarinet. Then we move to the fugue. Vibraphone. Flute. Third instrument. Piano, clarinet. Half step. Fourth string. Okay. One thing, did you notice? He had to conduct the fugue. Well, once you got out of the fugue and you're back into the groove of the song, he didn't really need to conduct it. You know, once a good band is into a groove, the conductor, he doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to be doing this, right? So you notice he's really small. It just occasionally he's just reminding them of an accent that he wants them to hit or something like that. That's all that's needed at that point. The groove is what's holding the whole band together. Thoughts or questions? Well, I hope that you hear this song in a way quite different from how you ever listened to it before. And we learned a lot. We learned about fugue. We learned about 12-tone writing. We learned about certain techniques of melodic development, and the integration of the interlude, the fugue, with the song when it returns, which gives the composition a wholeness, as opposed to, well, we heard all the fugue, we heard all of that, now we're back to the song and they don't talk to each other at all. The middle section and the outer section. No, what actually makes that return really special is that interaction between the wilder counter subject idea, which suggests moments when they're not so cool, against the song itself. Questions, thoughts, anything else you want me to take a look at?
Can you explain at all why those accents come in, where they come in like 94, you know, whatever? Is there any pattern to that, or?
My hesitancy is I'm just trying to find a concise way. But they're there serving two functions. Function one is we know that they're actually the main material. Function two is they're there to disorient you. So why are they there? Because
No, I'm saying, are there any particular reason, the particular beats that they're on?
no, I know that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find a way to put it. He knows that with all of this, you need something to play off against it. Okay? He's already used sustains to play off against it in the theme. So now he needs rhythmic pop, rhythmic punch. So that's what those things are doing. But he doesn't want to give them to you in any regular way that would make you feel comfortable. So if he always hit three, ba, 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 you know, it's just, okay. You settle into that. You feel it. So he's not literally being random, but he's creating an effect of randomness that's startling. And it's a device that I've tried to steal whenever I can.
Lou, I have a question.
Yes.
The dynamics, the sudden forte and the stark difference in dynamics, are they matched by the choreography?
Well,
the dynamics of the movements?
Well, you know what? I think if that's that question, it's probably worth just watching it one more time to answer that, because I can't tell you specifically. Sometimes they are. Sometimes Robbins is intentionally playing against it. So when you get that, but I remember there are certain gestures where they like throw their hand up and pull it back, and some of those, he's going to match those. So let's watch that. I'm going to get to this song. Okay. So here we're starting where the fugue is.
Easy action. Rob. Cool it, cool it. Go, go, go.
You notice Robbins is not following every hit. If he did, it would be Mickey Mouse, right? And sometimes he's real smooth right through it. Learn it out. Did you notice how they're clapping, him hitting his fists? They're playing in between Bernstein's rhythm, and they're adding another layer of rhythmic, polyrhythmic kind of thing going on.
Easy does it. Turn off the juice, boy. Just play it cool, boy. Real cool.
Okay. Let's go. Pow! Pow! Pow!
So that answers your question better than I could have, right? It's
It seemed to me that the dancers were more in unison when the music was in unison. When it came together, they seemed to come together.
sometimes.
Yeah.
When you know the music as well as you guys know this music now, if you're anything like me, watching that dance is a completely different experience. Because something I've been watching, occasionally for my entire life. I think I was 7, right? When I first saw this. The subtlety with which Robbins approached both working with and working against the music that it has a whole other layer of rhythmic life apart from the music itself when you put in the dance. And together, you know, it's really quite extraordinary. Whoever's choreographing that new film, you know,
Justin,
what?
Justin Peck. I
Is-
mean,
Is he doing the film?
yeah, it gotta be intimidating, God.
Well, you know, it's you've got shoes to fill there. You definitely do.
I was noticing that long pause near the end in the
Right.
music. Was that only in the movie version, that long pause?
I don't know. Because, you know, the only time remember we saw them do it on the Ed Sullivan Show? But, you know, they just started with the fugue. They didn't even do the song. And so, you know, I'd have to look. I haven't seen the show. Last time I saw it was what, 2008, when they did that version where they tried to have the sharks speak and sing in Spanish. Right? Other questions? Okay. I'd like to take a detour. We have 18 minutes left in today's session. And I became obsessed for a few days with a performance of a song. Stunned by who wrote it and stunned by the transformation of it. So I'd just like to share this with you because I think it's quite amazing transformation. And I run the risk of you guys just thinking I'm an idiot, but that's how it goes. Now, there was a Buddy Holly song. You guys all know who Buddy Holly was, right?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to play you a minute of this song. That's all you need to hear. Okay. So,
There you going, baby. Here am I. Well, you left me here so I could sit and cry. Well, golly gee, what have you done to me? Oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Do you remember, baby, last September, how you held me tight each and every night? Well, whoops a daisy, how you drove me crazy, but I guess it doesn't matter anymore. There's no use in me crying. I've done everything and now I'm sick of trying. I've thrown away my nights and wasted all my days over you. Well, you go your way and I'll go mine. Now and forever till the end of time, I'll find somebody new, baby. We'll say we're through and you won't matter anymore.
okay. I don't know about you, but I hate that. All right. I just hate that. Luckily, in my, you know, brief time here on Earth, I had been spared it. I know Buddy Holly's, a lot of his songs, and I like some of Buddy Holly's songs, you know, That'll Be the Day or Peggy Sue, but I had been spared that. But I came across, you know, I don't know if you guys are like me, but sometimes you just drop down a YouTube rabbit hole.
Yep.
And about 3 hours later, you come up for air and you realize it's 2:30 in the morning. And what are you still doing up, looking at it? So on one of those nights, I stumbled across Linda Ronstadt doing that
That's
song.
a great version. Great.
And that's the first I'd ever heard the song. And I thought, wow, this is really beautiful. Who wrote this song? So I look up on Wikipedia and I was stunned. Paul Anka wrote that song. Paul Anka, to me, is just a lousy, you know, late 1950s pop songwriter. I couldn't believe that he could write a beautiful song like that. So then I went back and I looked at Buddy Holly. I listened to Buddy Holly's version, the original version that was the hit. And I heard that and I said, oh yes, that sounds like Paul Anka. So for a couple of days, all I could do was listen to this Linda Ronstadt version because I couldn't believe her ability to transform a song. And I've always liked her, but I've never been, you know, a crazy fan of her, but I've always admired her. So I would just want you to listen to this. Listen to the way she transforms this song. To me, she invests what feel like absolutely a lyric that is banal as could possibly be with real meaning.
This is the get this just exactly. They're hard little buggers to get off. This is worse than a panty girdle. Yeah. Any of you remember panty girdles? I remember panty girdles. Great way to get gangrene in your legs, boy.
She had all these bracelets on and they were banging against her guitar, so she had to get them off.
Freshman year in high school, I used to wear one every day. Boy, was I a chump. Song from the days of panty girdles. There you go, baby. Left me here so I could sit and cry. Golly gee, what have you done to me? Well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Do you remember, baby, last September, how you held me tight each and every night? Oh, baby, how you drove me crazy, but I guess it doesn't matter anymore. There's no use in me crying. I've done everything now. Sick of trying. I've thrown away my nights, wasted all my days over you. Well, you go your way, baby, and I'll go mine. Now and forever till the end of time, and I'll find somebody new. We'll say we're through, and you won't matter anymore. There's no use in me crying. I've done everything now. Sick of trying. I've thrown away my nights, wasted all my days over you. Well, you go
What do you guys think?
Yeah,
She's great.
it's beautiful.
It's the second Linda Ronstadt cover I've heard this weekend, in the past week or so.
Oh yeah.
That's blown me away.
What's the other?
You can find this on YouTube. They have a excerpt from the movie FM, where she sings "Tumblin' Dice" and beats the hell out of Mick Jagger.
Yeah, I've seen a video of her doing that.
Yeah.
If we have time, we can listen to it. I mean, honestly, I was just blown away because I thought, not only is that beautiful, but how did she hear that Buddy Holly version and in her head hear what we just heard? I mean, that's an amazing
Louis, to me,
transformation.
I think she captures the meaning of the songs. I'd be curious to know with Paul Anka, when he wrote it, like what was how did he envision it? Because
I think he
I was
probably,
not impressed with the Buddy Holly rendition at all. I think that was pretty bad.
yeah, but I think that's how he wrote it. He wrote it as an upbeat song, you know, that kind of rhythm. He's the only person I've ever heard do it as a ballad. You know,
Okay.
that's exactly fits the kind of songs Paul Anka was writing in the late 50s. You know, Diane, that song he had his first big hit with. You know, that's how he wrote. You know, he wasn't a writer of any depth. He was a writer who was, for a moment, in that era between rock and roll and the Beatles, when pop music was going kind of really bland. You know, he was one of the people who, you know, was writing some hit songs. And then eventually,
But
what?
I mean, she definitely had a knack, because another song I like of hers is Desperado, and the Eagles did that. I like their version, but hers really is,
Yeah,
it's better.
she's,
I got
There are certain artists, like James Taylor is one that I listen to all the time, and he sings a lot of his own stuff, but the stuff that he sings that belong to other people, he really just has a knack of making you understand the lyric and the tune, and he slows things down. He's incredible, and she kind of reminded me of him, and she also reminded me of Joni Mitchell.
well, I think Taylor and Laura Nyro were
Okay.
probably the best of that generation at taking other songs, the songs that they kind of loved growing up, and making them sound like their own.
Mhm.
The thing that's, to me, striking about Linda Ronstadt is that she's not a songwriter.
Okay.
So, you know, she's not, it's natural that Taylor has a certain way of playing the guitar and his voice, and he'll do an arrangement in his style, like Nero would on the piano, and she's gonna, and sometimes they do better versions, like you said, than the original. Like Laura Nero does the best version I ever heard of Up on the Roof. for
Right.
instance.
Taylor does a nice version of that too.
Carole King?
No, James Taylor.
James Taylor.
Yeah,
has
he does.
great-
But I was just blown away by the sensitivity of her vocal. If you listen to Buddy Holly's version, and every line is like, comes across as, how can I be more mundane than the previous lines? And you listen to her version and it's like, wow. So I've always admired her. I was fortunate enough when I was 16 years old to see her perform at the Troubadour.
Okay.
So that would have been about 6 years before this video, 1971. Steve Martin was her opening act, by the way. Why don't we finish today with John's request
Okay.
and hear her doing. And I agree, John. I prefer it to the Rolling Stones version of. Oh, wait a minute. What am I doing here?
People try to rate me, always think I'm crazy, make me burn a candle right down. Baby, I can't stay. Don't need to choose in my brown. Now all you women that go down, down, treat me like I don't know how. Baby, I go crazy. Fever in the bunkhouse now. Where there's no down bitch like my Bermuda itch. Can you see the deuces they rise? Baby, get it straight. You got to run, homie. Call me the tumbling body. Always in a hurry, never stop to worry. Can't see the time passing by. Hurry, got no money. Sixes and sevens and nines. Well, hey now, baby, I'm a rank outsider. You could be my partner in crime. Baby, get it straight. You got to run, homie. Call me the tumbling die. I said, I'm the lone crab shooter, playing the field every night. Baby, get it straight. You got to run, homie. Call me the tumbling guy. You got to run me. Baby, got to run me. Baby, got to run me. Oh, baby, got to run me. Baby, got to run me. Oh, baby, got to run me. Baby, got to run me. Got to run me.
If you haven't, have you seen the documentary about her that came out a couple of years ago?
Terrific.
I haven't.
If
Yeah.
you haven't, it's really worth
Very
it.
good.
I think it's called The Sound of My Voice.
Right,
Well,
that's it.
And if you're looking for something that is intimately revealing of her personal life, you might be disappointed. She's very private and she's only going to share so much. But what really the point of the documentary is, you know, she had to stop singing because she developed what they thought was Parkinson's disease. And then turns out to be something else, I forget the name, where the brain does not send signals for the muscles to respond. So she can't sing anymore. And she had to retire about 10 years ago. And her voice, she felt, was declining for about a decade before that, since about the turn of the century. And she's about early 70s now, maybe 73 or 4. And she wrote a book because there was a publisher who wanted a book and didn't want it to be a tell-all. So she wrote a book, and it really just, she's staking her claim for what she did as an artist. And her range as an artist is much broader than a lot of people think about, because we think about this period in the 70s when she was this huge singer, kind of getting hit after hit with covers of older songs. So it's, I think, worth watching if you like her work. And I admire her as an artist a lot. In my own head, on occasion, when I was writing for Carpathia, before I was totally writing for Carpathia, I was sometimes writing for either Laura Nero or Linda Ronstadt. So there we are. Next week, let's get into the quintet. So what I hope you will do is listen to it numerous times with the score in front of you, so you can really grab hold of what's going on. You'll see.
Louis, when you say quintet, is that just tonight? Because it says somewhere, but somewhere's not included in this.
Yeah, I forgot to include somewhere. So it's just the quintet. Well, somewhere it's
The quintet is just,
Somewhere.
it's a separate song. Yeah, it ended up somewhere. I'm not. Yeah.
fine, I just wanted to clarify.
Okay. I'll get that to you. All right, guys. Be well. I hope you didn't mind this minor excursion into the
No, that
realm,
was fun.
Always
Thank-
fun.
and I'll see you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
everybody, have a good week.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye.